Why not?
Okay, I will drop the minutes into the chat so that people can put your names in there. Does somebody want to volunteer to take notes?
Always do it in the wrong thing here.
Anyone volunteer note
Oh,
taker?
no, I was going to share my screen and take notes. Sorry, I was on mute.
Perfect. Awesome. Cool. So we have quite a few things on the agenda for today, starting with the working group report outs. So mentoring working groups at the top of the list if you want to give it a start.
Hello. Sorry, I don't have all of my, I had a meeting this morning, but right up against this meeting, and a meeting before that, but up right against that meeting. So I haven't done my updates yet. My apologies. Big news, I think it's big news. We'll start with the personnel. Ali Oak has graciously offered to be a Google Summer of Code administrator, and we have said yes, please, thank you, and have added him to the administration team for Google Summer of Code this term. So thank you, Ali. We very much appreciate your time and efforts on that. The LFX mentorship term 2023 term 1 started yesterday. We had, after everything sort of settled in, we had 2 projects drop because they couldn't find suitable candidates. So we have 63 programs running with, see if I can get the actual numbers here. 63 programs running with that, and that means 63 mentees, and we have 77 mentors across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, riveting, I'm sure. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, across 77 mentors across 25 or 26 projects. So I am super stoked about our launch here. This is a great opening to the year for us. Other mentorship news, Google Summer of, we have a couple of people expressing interest in the Google Season of Docs as well. So I'm expecting a couple of proposals coming in, hopefully this week or next. And we are still accepting proposals for Summer of Code, although that is coming to a close. I believe the date that proposals close for Summer of Code is the 20th of March. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Ali. Yeah, do we have Rion or Jay on the line? We do. We have Rion. Would you like to talk about the version 2 of the repo? Is that something that you can speak off the top of your head?
Not really, Jay. At the moment, he is working on his part of just redoing some work, but he recently changed positions. So I'll catch up with Jay, and because I think it's kind of time that we get to the point that we can merge in. So yeah, I'll catch up with Jay with it.
Okay, but it seems like it's getting to that point. So I feel like it's pretty close. Yeah. And then the other thing I wanted to put on the, I don't know if it is a growth issue, but it came out of a mentorship discussion. Alexander, are you on the line? Alexander's not on the line, doesn't look like, but he opened up an issue around inquiries about getting started in mentoring, and it sort of turned into a bigger discussion. Again, it keeps, oh, there we go, that's the one. I'm happy for that to be in contributor growth, but I just wanted to make sure that somebody had sort of linked it, because I think it's important to discuss with the larger group. But I don't think it's a mentoring thing. It just started in mentoring. I think that's my update. Is there anything else, Rian or Ali, that you can remember that I'm missing? Sorry, I'm super like scattered today. Too many meetings.
On the documentation for that issue, I am about to make a PR for that. Thanks, Caroline, and all the people that did the reviews on that. And then once it's in the PR, we can get some more reviews. And
yeah, I'm hoping to take a look at that later today. I haven't gotten a chance to read through it, but I did see that you had opened something. So
Caroline made a good point that a call for action at the end of a description of after you got all this knowledge, now do this would be a good thing. So I haven't have an exact thought on that. So some other people with thoughts would be, we can incorporate that.
So I think that's it then for mentoring.
Cool. Contributor growth up next.
Yeah. Gotta warn you, you may hear my cat singing the song of his people
Awesome.
or something behind me. He is unhappy. Real quick, I want to give people a little more context about this article here. I'll just pull it up real quick. People can see it, though we're not going to read it all together. Or, oh, whoop, somehow I can click. There we go. The problem that maintainers have been seeing was also echoed by the mentoring group, which is that certain contributors who are really eager to help don't know how to start at all. They're new to open source. They don't know your project. They're not quite sure how to do or what to do it, but they're excited. And oftentimes you'll see them like say, please assign me this issue, or I want to do stuff, but I don't know what to do. Or oftentimes it's a really open-ended question that gets thrown at the project, and maintainers are finding it difficult to know how to respond. So or at least my hope for this, and I don't want to like subvert what you've done. I didn't write this, but my hope for this is that we can give maintainers separate advice outside of this, that they can link people to this article when they get really open-handed offers to help, but they don't know how to help, that kind of stuff. To have them do a little more thinking and reflection about what project they want to work on, what area, and understand the relationship between a contributor and the project, and how much help can you ask for, things like that. Because otherwise maintainers, if they choose to engage with these contributors, which sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, it's usually a lot of work. This gives us a very low effort way to send them somewhere to kind of figure out what they're going to do and make sure that when they come back and re-engage with the project, they're better informed about what that engagement should look like. So I'm really excited about this. I think this will be a time saver for a lot of people. And so once we have it, I'm going to hype it in a lot of places.
To the question of hype, is this something, I think, is this going to be like a page on the Contribute website? Is this something that we want to propose as a blog post for the CNCF.io proper? Is this something that, how do we want, because I agree, I skimmed it when it came in, and it looks like there's a lot there, and a lot of good stuff there. And so,
oh, sorry.
Go on.
I was going to say my recommendation, and I think I was already talking to people about this, would be to make a long-term home for it on contribute.cncf.io. And I called out a place for it on the website where it can live and be very high profile. Like normally when you click on, we'll just do it right here. So if you go to contribute right now and you say, go down the contributor path, we kind of throw you at the list of projects, right? And there's some general 50 figuring out where you are, what things are called. We kind of jump into a glossary actually a little bit.
little bit.
So what I'd like to do is repurpose this landing a wee bit at the top and send them to this guide. And then, we still have all the other stuff, the glossary and everything. But we want to make sure that this guidance here is one of the first things people see when they come here to this part of the site. And then we can have separately the CNCF make a shorter blog posts or social media announcements or things, whatever they're willing to let us do, to kind of introduce the content and then send people to that page to read it, but not trying to reproduce it in its entirety in a post, because it's not quite written. It's very detailed,
Yeah.
for a blog post. Yeah. Does
I
that
think
sound?
So what I'm hearing is I love the idea of driving people to this through the main first or second page, and then doing maybe like I don't even know how many words this would be, but a shorter 500 to 1,000 word blog post that hits the highlights and drives traffic to it as well, that we can then tweet to sort of celebrate the content. Because this is, again, even just on skimming it, this looks great, Rian. So this is yeah, thank you.
I'm probably the newest and least experienced and least technical of everybody on the call. And so I took all the struggles I had getting involved and all the people that I helped over the last few years. And because I think if you're in the position, because I hear often, just make that first PR. And that you have no idea how difficult that is if you're coming from out in the cold. So I tried to write it, all the steps to just make that first PR. Yes, I feel maybe I overdid it a little, but I think it's really, if somebody asks, can I help? And they're not willing to read all of this, then they don't really want to help. So I made it as comprehensive onboarding as I think should. And what I was thinking out of this is, and I probably would regret raising my hand, but we might have a minister of onboarding somewhere that if somebody really wants, after they read this, reach out to me and I can take you through it step by step, physically show you this is the steps, whether you do code, whether you do. So I would be happy to do that. I'm sure it's not 100 a month. It would be 2 or 3 maybe. And then take them step by step, explaining what everything means, because I had a few people, and Jay was one of them, that had no idea what the meaning of pull request is, and just take them, why do we do this? How does it work? How does this thing fit together? Where do you go to meetings? Why do you go to meetings? So yeah, I would love to be the physical representation of this article after this as well.
While I think that's wonderful, I would say that contributors who start out and are this unsure where to start often will then move to other things after they've engaged with you. And it's like, you're not quite sure how long they're going to stick around or if it's going to work. And that's a lot of like one-on-one time commitment. And I do think that asking new contributors to watch a video that we prepared with the content you've talked about, or that article, it sounds like you published it, about how to do that pull request, and it's really detailed. Is that right? Like, it's been helpful to ask people to put in a reasonable amount of effort before taking one-on-one time from some of our most busy people, just to make sure that they've tried, they're invested. Oftentimes it gets them what they need without then taking up your time. And it also teaches them that this is kind of the way we operate in open source, where we do give it a good go first before reaching out for help. I mean, if you want to do it, I mean, you can. But
You've got to pan a lot of gravel before you get the gold.
Yeah. Do you have a link to what the first pull request thing that you were talking about?
I'm busy making it, so I'll have the link within the next hour or two. I've just have meetings going, so I'll drop a link here and in the chat for the pull request shortly.
Because then we could link to that too, which would be amazing. Skipping back up to the first thing on here, we have a template proposed, just more for our templates repository. And this is a template for a design proposal or a change to a code-based project. And it's a combination of, what do you see in Kubernetes, other big projects, kind of hits all the big highlights of everyone kind of puts X, Y, and Z type things into the proposal. So if you're interested in helping review, it's open right now and linked in the notes. And we are also working on roadmaps. Dawn, would you like to talk about this one a little bit more?
Yeah, so this kind of came out of a discussion I was having with Sal Kimmich at Kubernetes Community Days Amsterdam, with the idea that a lot of projects don't have roadmaps, or the roadmaps they have aren't particularly useful. And roadmaps really can be a way to encourage contributions. So we were trying to think about, how we can do something, maybe, like a roadmap template, or maybe some guides about, what we can do. So it's not something I've really worked on. It's sort of an idea about something that I think is important, but I don't think because we don't provide any guidance around roadmaps, right? I couldn't find it anywhere on the website or in our repositories. We don't have any templates. We don't have any guidance. We don't have any how-tos. And I think they're super important. So,
and they're required. You have to have that to get into the sandbox.
Well, well, there you go.
Yeah.
And I'd be curious how many of those are updated after they get into sandbox.
They're not.
Well, and how many places got into the sandbox before that became a requirement?
It's been in for years at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I would say on this is, I don't necessarily have the bandwidth to work on this myself, and I don't have a ton of experience building roadmaps for open source projects. So I have dropped the idea. It is here as an issue. If this is something that somebody would be interested in, someone could create a doc and drop that in the issue, and maybe some people could collaborate on it. If not, we can continue to drop ideas in this issue, but I do think it's something that we should look at building over time. Any questions on that?
No, I think that's great. I would like to know how to do roadmap better.
Sorry. Yeah, I love the idea as well. Roadmaps are necessary or one of the best approaches to get people involved in a project, just because of the psychology of it. Because when you're contributing to a project and which feature you're contributing to, and that gets released and whatnot, you get that extra motivation. So I guess, my thinking is that this is an awesome idea to get some kind of standardized approach to like getting those roadmaps out and keeping them up to date and whatnot. I think it's very valuable, and it's probably going to help a lot getting more people involved and excited about what they're building. Because if you don't have either a roadmap or an issue that gives more detail about what you're contributing to, that might not be so exciting to whoever is contributing. So the challenges there, I think, because I've been doing some work on roadmaps and plannings and whatnot. One of the issues there would be to, as you mentioned, keeping the roadmaps updated and connecting the roadmaps objectives and features and whatnot to the issues and the pull requests and whatnot. So that would be one of the challenges, but I really don't think we should necessarily worry too much about it at the beginning. We can just create some guides and some docs for roadmaps in general, and then see how people react to that, and then come up with some better solutions, or maybe some recommendations of tools that can help and whatnot. So
I'm sorry to cut you off. It's just that we have a couple more working
yeah.
groups to get through, and you know, we can just kind of keep this rolling on that issue. So if you have more things, please put them in there so we can track them. I love the idea of connecting issues back to the roadmap there.
Yeah.
Real quick on the survey analysis, it's kind of stalled out at this point. We wanted to sanitize or remove any identifying information from the freeform feedback and then make that available to people. I'll need to sync up with people offline and just see where we are and see if we can get this moving forward again. So that's all I had for contributor growth. Is Josh here for governance, or Dawn, you want to?
No, but I am, but the first item
Great.
is something you added to the agenda. Do you want to talk about that, or do you want me to?
I'm just curious. I just wanted to know if we've made any suggestions or if we still need people to look at this.
I would say, so yes and yes. So Josh did make some suggestions, but most of the suggestions were not necessarily things that we were hoping to add to the milestones list, but more clarifications and slight changes to some of the governance stuff that was in there. So I do think that that we should have another look at this this PR. And so just to clarify just what we're talking about here, this is milestones for all levels of projects, so sandbox, incubating, and graduated, but they're not requirements. They're things that we think projects at that level should have to give projects just a little bit more guidance about some of the things that they should be working on. And this is something that Emily has been driving out of the TOC, and she's actively looking for feedback right now. So now is a good time to have a look at that and provide some feedback. The other thing we talked about, so we were approached by the TOC to come up with a governance remediation process. So there was you can see there's a link to the issue, which is the original request, and then they also filed an issue in our repository for us to track it. But the idea behind this, and this is something that Josh has kind of already started working on, is and there are a couple of elements to this, but the idea is that we have no way of handling if a project gets themselves into some issues around their governance. So for example, there's a dispute, somebody claims that a project is not following its governance model, maybe. How do we deal with that? And how do we, what kind of process can we put in place for remediating issues with governance? The one that comes up more commonly is actually where the governance just has gaps. And, you know, what do we do when a project maybe needs to urgently remove a maintainer who's become disruptive and they have not specified in their governance anything about removing maintainers? So this has, like I said, several elements. This is something that Josh has been kind of working on, but I would say have a look at those two issues. I think that got a little fragmented from the request. Here, I'll fix that. There we go. So have a look. If you have any suggestions, drop them into those issues as well. The other thing that we did this week is rearranged the GitHub section of the website. So we had on the website a GitHub section, which then is where all of the templates ended up, and nobody knew to look for them under a GitHub section of the website. So what we've done is we have fixed that, and now it is a templates section, which has not just the templates, links to the templates, but it has all of the how-to information about the templates. And then Carolyn did a good job of kind of reorganizing it so to make things a little bit easier to find. So I think this is a much better structure for people finding our templates and our how-to guides for how to use them. So feel free to point people there, because there's lots of good stuff, because we have been pretty actively working on some of those how-to guides. And that is all I have on governance. I think next up is maintainer circle.
Yeah, so we had to push the March one, just Nate got busy. and that's fine.
So sorry.
Yeah, no, it's
if I can interject, I really feel terribly about having to punt, and I don't want it to come across as my not wanting to do it. I got swamped, and I'm so sorry, but I'm
no, 100%. I mean, we were trying to put it together at the last minute, so it's one of those things that like I'm not blaming you at all, Nate, for sure. And like I think again, I'm still ramping up on trying to organize it, and so now I've got lots of lead time. And definitely, I think, like the good news is now we have like 3 things beyond KubeCon that are lined up for things that we can schedule. KubeCon is locked in. Rin and Austin are organizing that now. They're going to get me the description by next Friday, ideally, and so we'll get that up and can start promoting it. We have a room and a time, so the one for KubeCon is good. And then, between the offer that Josh made and the mentoring group, and I'll circle back around with Kim McMahon, we should have things that we can line up post KubeCon as well, and have like to get more of these going. So.
Dave, I have a question. What is the topic for KubeCon, for the KubeCon session?
Yeah, let me pull up Slack so that I can say it accurately. So basically it's on, and actually I don't know, it might be a good thing to point and highlight out the guide that Carolyn made here. It's basically on, like, so coming from the hotel community, they have a lot of people who come in who are engaging with the project, but who are end users, essentially the people who are actually instrumenting their code and attempting to use the hotel stuff, who have lots of questions, have lots of feature requests, have all kinds of stuff. And it's about how to structure things so that you have a good way of interacting with those people and bringing them into the project inclusively, rather than kind of going like, well, you're not a contributor, so yeah, there's going to be a snappier title that they owe me by next Friday, but that's the topic.
Yeah, well, that's great.
Anything else on Maintainer Circle?
No, that's it for now.
Cool.
That reminded me of another thing I would like to add to the mentorship side. I was asked I was asked by CNCF folks if I could organize a mentorship office hours at KubeCon. So that is something that's I'm working with the events team to get a room. It probably won't be a big room, and it probably won't be more than like an hour or 2, but that is something that is very likely going to happen. So I'll probably be inviting. I'm hearing that there are certain folks. I don't want to name names yet, but it seems like there will be a bunch of the mentorship crew attending. So I'll try and rope them in, and anyone here is also welcome to join.
That's awesome. Cool. KubeCon, Catherine, do you want to cover this section?
Sure. So as you hopefully know, we are doing a panel discussion, and instead of telling or sharing with the audience what they can get out of, like what resources we offer, we want to kind of talk about what motivates us being part of it, hoping to get more people engaged. Like kind of saying like, hey, we're not only building these resources that are useful to someone else, like really being part of the tag is really enriching for us as individuals as well in our careers. So just another angle to kind of make the tag attractive to people and motivate them to participate. And super exciting, Dawn is doing a keynote. That's awesome. So hope everyone is going to be there. I mean, like everyone who is at KubeCon should definitely make a note and be there and cheer her on. So that's awesome. And office hours we just talked about. And then we're going to get a kiosk again. It's number 9. We don't have the floor plan yet. And it's the PM shift. So we're looking for volunteers. I started the sign up sheet. Last time we had like one person for shift for sure. It would be nice to have two, just because it's like it can get boring if just to make each other company. So it's like, so it would be nice ideally. I was thinking an hour and a half shifts maybe, because then we can, it's a little easier. I think last time we had three 1 hour, but I don't know, maybe like I feel like they're longer right now. So 1.5 hours would be ideal. We can still discuss that. Wednesday goes until 9 p.m. So I was thinking, should we just skip 7 to 9 p.m.? It sounds kind of crazy to have it manned. I mean, like we can have like some, yeah.
Is that the booth crawl night? Is that why it's going
Yeah.
It is. That's going to be the busiest time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you think it's gonna be people are, yeah. Okay, well, I'll make that
Yeah.
unskipped. So I hope it's the busiest time. Like lately, like the booth crawls have not been that active, at least on the sponsor side. So I don't know. Yeah, if we can definitely man that.
And if it's not super active, we can always bag it like partway
Yeah.
through.
Yeah. And the other thing to keep in mind as well, that probably that our audience are the people who are manning the kiosks as well. So whenever we're at the booth, we should think about like actually the downtime is also good to reach out to, because it's going to be downtime for the kiosks. So that's actually also the opportunity, because like when people come out of the talks, that's not like the majority is not really our target audience. So yeah, so we do have time, but if anyone is like super excited right now, feel free to sign up, and yeah, let's try to find enough people. Oh, and I signed up for Friday again, because like the first 2 days I really need to be at our booth. So so I blocked that one right away, because it's like the other days are not feasible. And then we should start thinking about what we should have at the kiosk, right? We're going to have a TV. Last time we kind of realized that, or thought about it last minute, so it was a little rushed. So now we have a lot more time to talk about it. We had a presentation. Maybe there are other things that we want to show that are a little bit more interactive. The tag stickers. It was last minute thing where I ordered them, and then the CNCF paid me back just because it was a last minute. So let's not do it this time. We can do it properly. And then I know that the cartographers group had a brochure at some point. So like maybe like a little, and like really short, like with the top things that the tag does or something. That would be nice. And we have enough time to think about what should be on it, and then work with the CNCF to get that printed. Because since they did it for the cartographers group, I assume that they will be willing to do that. Maybe Nate has more insights, but I assume, because it's not like huge amounts. So what do you think about the brochure?
Like
Should
it,
we
because
try to-
oftentimes you'll have a conversation with someone and then they walk away and they forget what was the link, or just things like that. So having something physical reminds them that they came in the first place, and then could maybe get them re-inspired to actually follow through and come to a meeting.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Okay, I'll get started at some point with a doc where we can see what the brochure, should have, and then I'll share that in the Slack channel so we can all kind of work on that. Okay, and then getting the word out campaign. So I created a tag call out slide. So again, what we were thinking of doing is not only us promoting it, but like there are a lot of people who are tag friends, I call them, like people who think this is a good initiative and speak at different conferences. Last time we did it for KubeCon only, but it doesn't have to be for KubeCon only. Probably KubeCon is the better conference just because there will be more maintainers, but maintainers also attend other conferences. So let's ask, let's ask people to just put that at the end of their slide and just do a little shout out. Doesn't have to be more than 30 seconds. I think that can actually go a long way if we get a bunch of people to do that. And then as well, everyone who is on this call and speaks, I know a lot of people do speak regularly. It's another thing, right? Like just getting into the habit to adding that call to action would be good. Like, because if we do that over time, it could be actually really, it could help a lot with the awareness. And then the podcast is still pending. I think Carolyn, it's weird because like, what's going on? I know
He's not, I have never really been able to get him to communicate with me. We showed up, we did it, and then whenever I reach out, I get nobody.
Which
I don't know
podcast
where it
is
is.
this?
I don't know why he didn't publish it. He publishes like every 3 days, so I don't get why it didn't immediately go up, and I haven't heard back.
it's what's the name again?
Are we allowed to say it publicly? If it's not been published?
I
Why
mean,
not?
sure. I don't know. It's TFIR.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm always the reason I ask is I'm always looking for new podcasts. So if some of us are talking on a podcast, that's probably an interesting podcast, and I should probably take a look at it.
oh, it's not a podcast. It's like they're like YouTube clips. Like we were
But
on
they call
camera,
it
but-
podcast now, right? Like
okay.
not podcast or video. I don't get it, but it
Yeah.
sounds more.
It's not
Well, take a
exactly a
look.
podcast. Just saying, if you're looking for one, it's not quite that. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. I'll just keep pinging him about it because I mean, it was solid content. I mean, unless like the darn thing just got lost somewhere and he was too embarrassed to tell us, I don't see why we can't put it up.
Yeah, I'll ask Chat as well because he was our point of content.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah,
it's nice.
yeah.
I think like he will probably. I'll put that in a little bit in the action item.
Thanks.
So I think he should. I mean, it's good that you're pinging, but probably he is the person who organized everything. It would be the best person to actually ping him. And then as Don was talking about the roadmap issue, I was just thinking maybe are there any ideas to promote these issues and get them out? I'm a little sometimes hesitant to be too, because it's like I know that sometimes you have like all these more newbie kind of contributors like jumping on it that may not necessarily have the background to contribute to this type of project. But I don't know if there is like we can create a social media post, or maybe the CNCF like we can draft it and promote like just to get the word out, because it's like it's there, right? And then another project that might want to work on a roadmap right now may be interested in saying like, okay, let's just do this as a template for ourselves as well.
Catherine, I have an idea.
Okay.
You know who needs a roadmap?
Who?
Us. And then we need to put it on your call out slide and on the brochure. And then just like Alexander was saying, they can see how they would fit into what our priorities are and where they could contribute. We need one first, I think.
Yeah.
It says, this is what we're focusing on this year and we need your help. So if any of these are interesting, come join us and work on it. You know,
That is
instead of
awesome.
calling out individual issues, let's call it the larger, things we've got on our plate.
I love that idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we do need to get better about our own dog food. Like I just this week added that you need a DCO to contribute to our contributing guide, when that is clearly in our contributor template that we didn't use when we created our contributor guide.
The contributor template didn't exist when I made some of this stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we should retrofit so that we role model our own. We should actually, there's other
Absolutely.
stuff in that template that we should add to. I didn't delve too deep into it. This is more because I can never remember if this is a CLA or DCO project, and the contributing guide didn't help me. We could put that on the roadmap.
Yeah. And then the last thing is I I know, Karen, you're saying we're still working on the analysis part, but just general thoughts on, because we initially said like we should do these contributor surveys regularly, and it's like at the end, it's like it's early in the year, but maybe just start to think about like what needs to be better, what should be open, quite like if we want to do this again, maybe like the fresher it is still in mind, we can think about what we want to do next time.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I agree 100%. I like personally, I feel like the thing I wanted most out of the survey we didn't get. So and Josh had a lot of suggestions for how we can make sure SurveyMonkey works right if we use them again, or whatever tool we use. So yeah, I'll start collecting that, and I'll write up some plans for what should be done differently. I think we were targeting once a year, so you're right, we have lots of time to figure it out, but we should do it while it's still fresh.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I had. And by the way, I did add like an action items at the very top of this agenda at some point, and forgot, because I thought it was like, I know we were adding the action items like kind of in the notes, but I thought it's kind of good because it keeps us accountable. And it's like always, I'm going to talk of my own experience. It's embarrassing that you go and then you see your action items and it's not checked up. But also, like, if it's buried in that section, like I just totally forget about it. So I don't know if we want to use that and then look at the previous action items.
I would say the reason why they end up buried in the notes is maybe it's just me. I have a really hard time keeping up and taking notes and listening and understanding what someone is saying. So it would be too much if I was doing notes to then also bring them up there. But if the person who is assigned it could just add it there real quick, I think that would really help.
Yeah. And I was going to put something while I was talking, and then I said, like, I'm not going to do this because it's not. So it's like, it's difficult to multitask, but we can also do it like right after, and I can help look through it and then go and populate that. But yeah, no, totally. Multitasking is a myth.
It is.
What is left for the survey analysis? Are we planning to do what after we analyze those results? Do we want to publish something, or
I would go back to what our goal was for the survey. The survey originally, the seed of it was not to then immediately toot a horn and tell people about the results. That was something that CNCF was interested in doing. And that's why half the questions were worded the way they were, with very easy to calculate numbers and things like that would pump up the angles they were interested in. We were looking to engage with and find out about maintainers or potential maintainers who have either left a project because it wasn't working out for them. So things that caused maintainer churn, or prevented people who were great candidates for becoming a maintainer from engaging with a project. Because we give people advice for new contributors all the time. It's very easy because there's a lot of like low hanging fruit where you can say certain things like this article that you know, people are writing. But when it comes to how do I recruit more skilled people who are ready pretty much to step into the maintainer role with a small amount of time spent, you know, skilling up on the project or things like that, we have no advice. No, I mean, if you have it, please tell me, because we don't have it anywhere here. We don't talk about it in any of our content so far, any of our talks, anything like that. And that's like one of the #1 asks to the contributor growth group is I need to have multiple maintainers from different companies. How do I make that happen? And it's crickets. So we were trying to answer that question and identify people maybe to follow up with an interview, stuff like that. I don't think a survey was the best format, is what I learned from this. And then it would be better to reach out individually to people or do small groups or something like that. Because I think a lot of the things that people are saying is only free form text. and maybe things they don't want to say in writing. So that's my follow-up, is we need to find these people, talk to them, and not publish anything probably for a bit, and stew on it and put out content, see if it works, vet what we're suggesting people try, and then promote it. Sorry, that was a lot.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. For the survey, we just have to look at the issue. Like, you created an issue and posted the results that are not from personal free-form text. So we just need to take a look at this and come up with some ideas and what our thoughts and whatnot, and post on that issue. Is that a good action item for us?
if there's conclusions, or less conclusions, but more ideas for where we have gaps in content, or suggestions, advice, things like that, is what I would be very eager. That's how I want to use this survey, is to improve what we're putting out there, what we're telling projects to do, or what we're telling contributors to do, and make that better advice.
Yeah. Okay, then. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, to give you an example, I had anticipated or expected that time zones would be like a more hot button thing. And then when we looked at the numbers and counted things up, maybe it wasn't, or maybe I'm bad at statistical analysis. That is probably it. But that's the type of stuff that maybe we could get out of the survey.
Yeah.
Was there anything else on the agenda? Did we talk about the weekly tweet / Mastodon? Oh, we did. We should mention this. We did open up a Mastodon account for the tag. I don't know if everybody saw that.
I'll add a link to it.
Okay, that would be perfect, because I don't have a link handy. So is there anything that we want to promote about the tag this week?
I don't have anything specific I want to tag this week, but I do have something I'd like to share around this. If I don't want to jump in before my time, but
Well, we should definitely also always promote, not only once, but multiple times, our KubeCon session. So people can start adding those into their calendars. I mean, at least those people who signed up early for KubeCon.
and there's a few of them.
Mhm.
So internally on the CNCF, the marketing team reached out to me and said that one of the things that they're looking to do more of this year is promote our mentorship efforts. And to that end, I'm actually going to be, I hesitate to use the term interviewed, but I'll be talking with our marketing folks next week about all the things that we're doing and whatnot. So hopefully moving forward throughout the year, we will have more things to sort of promote around the activities that we're doing around mentorship. It'll be interesting being interviewed by a coworker.
It fully counts as an interview, by the way.
Put that on my CV.
So is there something we would like to toot out? We don't tweet out anymore, we toot out.
Toot.
Is there something we'd like to promote this week?
I think we should promote the talks at KubeCon, and once Dave gets the topics for the maintainer circle, we should add that to the list of things that we promote. Or do we promote the maintainer circle? Because that's sort of invite only for maintainers. Maybe we don't promote that one.
Yeah.
Well, we try to promote it to maintainers at least, and I'm sure at least some of them are looking at the, like, I think
But it's
in the
only
promotion we try to make.
open to CNCF maintainers. Like if we put
Yeah,
it
I
out on Mastodon, we
blast
can end
that
up with lots of extra
publicly.
people.
Sure.
If we're, that's actually something maybe we put. The CNCF is doing a newsletter, a monthly newsletter for maintainers. the maintainers circle might be a good item for that. And the person to reach out, either ping me in Slack or Amy. Amy is the one who's running that. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
I will
really
do that. Go
interesting.
ahead.
I would
I
love
don't
to
know if
see
I'm
that.
supposed
The
to have-
numbers, the open numbers, open rate and click numbers would be interesting to see if there is like, or if it's just like, but if
Well,
it is like something valuable and people start reading it, that would be like a huge way for us to get like.
Catherine, did you see it yet? It went out last week and it was really good. It is
No,
it's
I
a
didn't see
nice newsletter. It was
We
a
worked hard on it.
I immediately read it and then messaged Amy like 4 seconds later and like, this is great. It's a big improvement and I expect more people will read it.
Yeah,
Right.
and we're hoping to cut down on, like, I would for mentorship just blast like out to the TOC list and all that sort of stuff. And we're trying to really consolidate on this. We're humming and hawing about whether or not it should be monthly or bi-weekly. So if you have feedback on that, let us know. Your reaction just warms my heart, Carolyn. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, it's a leaps and bounds. It's very useful. I actually archived it so I could go back to it. So I think it's a win.
Can someone, Karen, can you just forward that to me?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I
Ironically,
can. Can you send it to me?
Ironically, I'm not a maintainer, so I don't get it.
Yeah, see, I
I was gonna
don't
say, neither am
I
I.
don't think I
I'll forward
get
a
it.
copy to the mailing list so you can all just see what it looks
Yes.
like.
Yeah,
Yes.
that would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'll reach out to Amy, but I'll also reach out to you, Nate, because for the first one and thankfully it didn't go out, but like for the one that was scheduled with Kim and she had to back out for a while, I had sent Amy an email saying, please send this to maintainers. And then because that was what was in the instructions. And then when I asked her about it, she was like, no, we generally let people send out their own messaging. And I was like, I don't know how or who or what the mailing was. Like I was told to send it to you. So so it's good to know now there's like a place to put it. And that'll be the place to put it.
So maybe actually in our template for this meeting, instead of saying, hey, what do we want to tweet or toot or promote, make a note that we should also consider articles for the maintainer of the newsletter that goes out, the CNCF maintainers. That way remember that it exists and we can make those.
What's the frequency of it?
Right now it's monthly, but again, I think there's some discussion about whether or not it should be every 2 weeks or if it should be monthly. And again, we don't want, the maintainers are a time-starved crew, and so we don't want to overload them with this type of stuff. But if people are finding it useful and want more, then potentially it could go to bi-weekly.
I think bi-weekly may be a little much considering how much content is going to be in it.
That's
my
what
vote would
we
be
figured
monthly.
too. Yeah, that's.
Well, the flip side of that is, if it went to bi-weekly, then I would expect it to be a much smaller newsletter.
Oh, exactly. So note, I have it up on my screen here. We're scheduling the next one to go on March 14th. So there's still time to get stuff in, but not a lot of time to get stuff in.
Should we also seek for, we can also, I guess, try and find some maintainers that also have content that we can maybe share and do some partnerships, some type of co-branded posts and
for which, sorry?
sharing for the social media and the newsletter. So if there are some maintainers that have like YouTube channels and also have newsletters and whatnot, so maybe we can do some cross posting and try and have them share our stuff, and we share their interesting and common things so we can reach other audiences, I guess.
And then like, it would be nice to, like, in all upcoming newsletter, well, all, it's probably 2 until KubeCon, just mention the session as well. Like, all we need is like a little, by the way, here is like
So
a
I'm not-
session.
So again, so I'm not the editor. So we
So
can
who-
make requests.
Yeah, who is like, how does it,
and-
yeah.
So
But
like I
that's
say,
like-
Amy, it's Amy has, I think, the final say. I've got the opportunity to drop things in, but I would, like if you have a request, I would again, I mean, I don't like, what I would do is I would reach out to Amy and I, if like just ping us both in Slack, and then we can figure out, because that way we've both got all of the context in the discussions and whatnot. So it's not something I can just drop something in. Right?
Yeah, no,
I
got
can't
it.
just say, this is going.
It's a little bit like Cube Weekly, right? Like you
Yeah, exactly.
submit something for
Yeah,
consideration.
Precisely. Yeah, exactly.
So-
Exactly.
So maybe
This-
Catherine, can you take the action item to pull the stuff together from us and put together something for Amy? Is that all right?
Yep.
And I'll try to get something written up then for this maintainer circle, even if I don't have the official stuff from Rin. Like, at least if this sounds like it's going to be the last one before KubeCon. So
Yeah,
since we have a
because it's-
time and place and it's not on Sketch, I feel like this would be one of the better places to promote it. So
Yeah, this is the perfect place to promote it, for sure.
I think so too. I can also, and not that I have a whole lot of sway, but I can say, hey, this is.
this is the perfect place for this.
Quick question, Nate. So what
Oh,
was the
thanks.
date that it goes out? Just to capture
We're-
that as
Looks like it's, and this is subject to change, and
Yeah.
it changed last month. But as of right now, it's looking like it's going to go out on Tuesday, March 14th.
March 14th.
Yeah, so like
Thank you.
5 days from now.
Oh, 5 days from now. Oh, okay.
Well, because it's March
Yeah,
9th,
Tuesday.
right? Yeah, so it's coming up. Yeah. And again, it might get pushed a week. It may get pulled up a couple of days, depending on what's going on. But we're thinking the 14th is probably the. Again, this is all new. This is super new.
And it's good. I love it. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we are out of time. This is a great meeting. I think we got a lot accomplished. So thanks everybody for coming and joining us. And yeah, have a good rest of your day.
See you next time.
Take care, everyone.
Good one. Bye.
Everybody.
Awesome.
Bye.